on some brioche buns.
Brioche buns?
I mean,
homemade brioche buns?
Yeah.
You haven't made brioche buns in a while.
Yeah, I guess they're just regular buns.
Yeah.
But they're still good.
Oh, man.
Fluffy buns.
Fluffy buns. I still want that brisket so bad right now. Okay, we got to go.
I know, you got rid of it.
I didn't get rid of it. Hey, everyone. I'm Nathan.
And I'm Willow.
And we're the Cooks. And welcome back to another edition of More Than Before Marriage. I was going to introduce myself again, but we already did that. We're super excited to spend a little bit of time with you guys next 30 minutes as we dive into a good topic, I think.
Yeah.
We were just kind of talking about what's going on in our life and how we're feeling about our world and how everything always feels like it's falling apart before we get on these things.
Well, we were talking about we're just so tired.
Exhausted.
What are we going to do? Well, we're tired. Are we going to do this? We're tired today. And it kept coming up that we're tired.
Well, and yesterday we were gonna record it yesterday too. And they're like, well, maybe we should just record it tomorrow. And I'm like, we gotta actually start this thing.
Yeah, and then we were like, well, maybe we should do it in the morning. And then it was like, oh, well, we're going to be tired. We were tired last night. We're going to be tired in the morning. We better do it now.
We're always tired. It's ridiculous. But hopefully you guys had a really good Thanksgiving. We had a good Thanksgiving. What was your favorite part about Thanksgiving?
Should I be like our kids and say the food?
Yeah, pretty much every single night we were having dinner and we go around the table. What was your favorite part of the day? And like 90% of the time, well, Rylan actually has moved on to events.
She
and things.
did today.
But Azariah and Malachi, It's always like pasta,
the peanut butter and jelly.
It's
something that they ate.
It's always food. But I think we had a really good Thanksgiving. The brisket was amazing. 26 hours on.
It was delicious.
Oh my goodness. 26 hours and 22 minutes if you want to get specific.
Those 22 minutes made the biggest difference.
It really did, except for, when someone started to eat it and we found out they were allergic to mustard.
Oh, yeah.
Which I basted the outside in like tons of mustard. So I was like, oh no, we're going to kill someone.
Time out.
Stop,
grab the meat.
Stop eating right now. Yeah. So, but I think she's not dead. She's alive. So didn't kill my sister's boyfriend's daughter. Yeah. Good thing there.
Yeah, good thing.
Good thing. Well, let's jump into today's topic. What's our topic for today?
So we're talking about just doing it.
Yeah, just doing it and not putting off today or not putting off. Yeah, what was it? It was
not putting off what you can do today to tomorrow.
Yeah. So
stop
putting off the things that you could do today for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because tomorrow never comes, right? Tomorrow. But we're probably going to get canceled for that.
Well, I'm not even going to try to sing because then you just turn it off right now.
Actually, you probably should have been the one to sing that because if it was just completely off key, then no one would have known what it was. But why do you think this topic is really important, especially with where we are right now?
Yeah, there's just a lot of things that are busy and being tired, and there's a lot of things that we keep thinking, oh, we should put it off, but we need to just do it, even if we're tired. Even just this past week, there's been a lot of things that have come up like, oh, we could wait a little bit, but we're going to just do it because.
Yeah. I mean, I think it happens a lot with every single couple is, you should be doing things, you think you should be doing things, but you absolutely just do not do them.
Right.
And the reason you don't do them is because you're tired and you don't feel like you're motivated to do it. And so we came up with 6 different things here as we were kind of sitting and talking before we jumped on. Because I like to flow by the seat of my pants. I like to gunsling and like, let's go. And Willow's like, I need a plan, and we have to have at least some direction. And so it's a good thing she's around because otherwise it would just be us talking about all random weird things, right?
Probably a lot of food.
I don't talk about food that much.
I'm just kidding. Now it's on my mind. So once it's on my mind, it keeps coming back.
I feel like our kids talk about food because that's all you ever talk about right now. Because you're constantly hungry.
I know, for all the things that I can't have.
Yeah, by the way, if you can't tell watching the YouTube video, she is pregnant as all be.
Yeah.
But I will say, 2 nights ago we had hamburgers. You ate an entire hamburger.
I know.
It was a miracle.
Could not believe what was going on.
she normally eats like a quarter of a hamburger, which is great for me because I get extras, which you can tell by the way I look right now. I am not suffering from food problems. Actually, I am suffering from food problems. It's a different kind of problem.
Oh, man.
But today, so we're talking about not putting off tomorrow what you can do today. And why is this so important? You had a verse that kind of spurred this on, right?
Yeah.
It
So
was
I'm just going to read
Proverbs
it.
3:27.
Yeah. Proverbs 3:27 says, "Do not withhold good from those to whom it is due when it is in your power to do it."
Yeah.
Do it.
Do it. Well, and that comes back to a lot of things of we really do put off things in our life. Like you and I, we put off things that we should be doing for each other.
Yeah.
And the reason why we don't do them, because we're tired.
Yeah. And I think we make these things excuses, I guess we could call them, in our minds of like, oh, I'm too tired to even like say that. I'm too tired to do that, so I'll just do it later.
Yeah. And we just keep rolling, kicking the can down the road, and we never eventually get to it. It's just another day. I mean, and there's so many different things, which we're gonna hit on a lot of these things. Hopefully, not everything. Obviously, what we always say is that this is just us having a conversation. Which, by the way, every single time that we have one of these podcasts, we always want to do one of two things. Hopefully, both. But at least we want to encourage you, and second of all, we want you to feel like you're not alone, because you're not. We all struggle with different things. We all are tired and putting things off, and we don't feel like we have enough time or energy for these kinds of things. And so we want to encourage you that you're not alone in what you're going through right now. So what's the number one thing? What's point number one? I guess I should say, not the number one thing.
Right. Well, I mean, maybe it is for some people, but just conversations with one another. Mm. And so just in general, like those conversations could be things that are bothering you, things that are troubling you, things that are exciting you. Yeah. Maybe you just feel too tired to even share a long story or
like you've had a long day. Like, you get to the end. Like, this is something you've expressed to me in the past, and we've even talked about on the podcast of, when I was speaking all the time and going and doing trainings, I'd come home and I'd be tired, and you say, well, you never talk to me. You don't tell me stories. And I'm like, I've been talking all day. And like, I'm more than willing to talk to you. I just don't want to have to be the one to tell stories all the time. But sometimes it feels like you're getting the leftovers with that, right?
Right. Exactly.
And so conversations are really important. In fact, like, what are the conversations that you and your spouse currently aren't having right now in your marriage or in your life? Because you are tired, because you feel like it is going to require a lot of energy. And that's not to say, like, because we talked about this too, that you shouldn't have conversations with you're so tired that you're going to be offendable.
Yeah.
But there is a line that you have to draw that, okay, like in the next foreseeable future, in this season right now that we're in, things aren't going to get any lighter, and we have to address the things that are in our life.
Right.
And so, like what you said, what are the things that are bothering you? You know when something is bothering your spouse. They have that affect on their face, and they possibly want to kill you half the time. And it's important to actually have those conversations, right?
Yeah. Otherwise, it even opens doors for just it building up and getting worse, or something not ever being said for like, I don't know, years.
Yeah. And a lot of times it's being willing to say what's actually on your mind about the other person, of like, hey, this is really bothering me when you said this, or what you did that, when you did this at this point. And I brought up in the past podcasts where, one of my biggest faux pas is I would drag Willow under the bus. I'd say something derogative about her, and it was more in a playful spirit, because now you understand that, but back then you're like, oh man, why do you keep dragging me through the mud? And for me, it was something that you had to communicate that to me a number of times until it finally clicked. I'm a dude. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. I know, guys, don't write me letters, women. But being able to communicate what is bothering you, possibly about your spouse, and being kind. Don't just attack your spouse over it. It's like, hey, right now I just feel like I'm really tired, and I don't feel like you've been helping with the dishes very much. Something as simple as that.
Yeah.
And that small little communication can open the door for possible change. What's troubling you? Like, Willow just went back to work, yesterday? Today was your first day back at work. Yeah. Welcome back to work. And whenever Willow gets back to work, like, anxiety goes through the roof. There's a lot of stuff going on. She's pregnant, so she's getting contractions here and there. And so having that conversation specifically of, hey, like, I noticed that maybe something's troubling you. What's troubling you today? And opening the door to have that conversation. And anything else you want to say on that one? Because I wanted to touch on this excitement thing.
Yeah.
Because I was telling Willow before we jumped on, there's a difference between excitement and anxiety. And the difference is how you define it.
Yeah.
And I said that and you were like, that doesn't make any sense. Explain yourself.
Yeah. We were like talking about being anxious about things and having anxiety. And then it was, yeah. So
Yeah,
you want
and
to
then I was
explain
like,
it?
well, it's actually excitement. And
Yeah.
you're like, no. Well, okay, so think of it this way. Like, so for you, Willow, you grew up doing gymnastics, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're going to a gymnastics meet, were you anxious or were you excited?
Yeah. Both.
Both, yeah.
So
and the reason is because they're both the same energy. They're both the same kind of emotion. It's just how you define it.
Right.
Because you cannot feel two opposing emotions at the exact same time. And so when you feel anxiety, you're mostly focused on the negative aspects of what that is, what it is that you're focused on. If you have excitement, you're focused on the positive things about that. Now, like going and competing, like you're excited because you have the opportunity that you might win a gold medal or whatever it is. There's the anxiety that you might actually mess up and you forget something,
right?
Or you fall off the bars. I don't know.
Something like that.
Something like that. And so you have to define what it is that you're excited about. In the situation that you're going through, what are you excited about? There's an opportunity in front of you. And, you know, obviously I'm not an expert when all of this comes to pass, but I think it is important for us to understand, are we talking about anxiety or are we talking about excitement? So conversationally, we want to be able to have those conversations with each other to remind each other, like, hey, it's okay to communicate during these times of being tired. And when you're tired, it's okay. We will probably say stupid things, but we have to have that forgiveness, right?
Right, exactly.
What's number 2 on the list?
So just showing praise and appreciation for each other.
Yeah, this was big for you.
Yeah, just because, I mean, when I'm tired, at least I'm tired and I think, ugh, I'm so glad that you did the dishes. But I'm like, ugh, I'm not gonna say thank you or show my appreciation because I'm too tired. And I mean, it sounds silly, but when you're doing a million things that it's like, oh, it maybe even it like slips your mind or it's like you're doing something else with the kids. But even just that, like, thank you so much for taking the trash out yesterday, or thank you so much for doing the dishes. Thank you for taking the trash downstairs. just being able to
Thank
just
you for going
say
upstairs and getting my water that I forgot upstairs.
Yeah.
It's a long trip.
Those are a lot of stairs.
Yeah.
But just being able to say that even if you're tired and you're in the middle of a different conversation or doing something, just to make sure that praise and appreciation is shown and shared.
Well, and I think a lot of times too, like kind of with what you were saying was, you know, when we are tired, we forget that the other person needs praise.
Yeah.
Because we almost kind of focus on ourselves of like, hey, I need my cup filled over here.
Yeah.
And if you can stop long enough to think about the other person, like, oh man, Willow's been working all day and yeah, I've been with the kids, but now she's with the kids for a little bit and the kids are dragging her down. She's dying over there. She's pregnant and she's dying. Not literally. But,
yeah, hopefully not.
Hopefully not. But for me to say like, hey, I really appreciate how hard you worked today. I appreciate you giving me a couple minutes of a break so that, you know, I could go and rejuvenate myself. I appreciate that. How about you go take another break? Right. So,
no, but it's so true. You are thinking when you're tired, like, okay, I need some praise. I need some help because I'm dying.
Yeah.
But really, you're thinking about yourself there more than the other person. And the other person needs something.
Yeah.
too.
And by bringing praise upon the other person and giving gratitude over them, appreciating them, you actually will fill their cup up. So you actually get the energy. Like we get that energy all the time when we actually start speaking life over one another. We talk about that, right?
Yeah.
You can either speak life or you can speak death. And if you continue to speak life over the other person, guess what? They come to life. They have more energy. You find more energy to do the things that you both want to do.
Yeah. 100%.
The next one, number 3, is a big one. In my opinion, it's intimacy. And we'll define that in a couple different ways because most people, when they think about intimacy, they think about the physical intimacy or they think about sex, right?
Yeah.
And we'll get there. Don't worry. We're coming, guys. We're coming to sex. It's PG. Don't worry. Is sex PG? I don't even know.
Well, it depends.
Well, it's parental guidance. So we have parental I don't know. So so we'll come to that here in a moment. But first of all, we talked about the idea of intellectual intimacy, which was the first point of having conversations with one another. Are you actually talking about things that matter, or are you just talking about the mundane things about life of like, how was your day? How was your day? But like having those questions of like, hey, what did you learn today? What did you take away from today? How are things going in your world?
Yeah.
So we already talked about that, so we're not going to rehash that one. Yeah. The second one is emotionally, which we kind of talked about that a little bit in terms of praise. But we also have to get on the same page emotionally. Like even when we're tired, we don't want to connect emotionally. We don't want to give emotion. We don't want to give a lot of enthusiasm to one another, which is funny because, I've heard it say energy and motion, emotion. It takes a lot of energy to get that emotion out of some people, like Willow.
When I'm tired.
When you're tired. Yeah. But it is super important to remember that we have to put energy in to really get to an emotional status, like because we are emotional creatures. Yep. We cry. Some of us cry more than others, but we have to connect on that emotional level. So do you have emotional intimacy? The third thing here, which is what everyone wants to talk about, sex. Or physical intimacy.
Physical intimacy piece.
Willow wants to talk about physical intimacy. I want to talk about sex. But they do go hand in hand. Do. And that was a big thing that we struggle with for a number of years in our marriage, and sometimes we still do. But why don't you explain that a little bit more about the energy piece and in physical intimacy?
Well, just there's the physical touch, and there's also sex. Mm-hmm. So there's just two different pieces there, and you want to be able to have both even when you're tired. So just giving each other a hug or just sitting next to each other.
It's really hard to give her a hug. Do you see how short she is?
I know. I can't even hug you anymore. I like
she has to
push you over.
You're bending over like I have to bend over to hug you in normal days. Or like even like when we go for a walk and holding each other's hands.
Yeah.
Like she's like, I don't know. I don't feel like my arms move that much. And I feel like you're like doing like one of those slow motion run fast things, but like your arms are moving fast, but your body's not moving fast enough. Like,
well, right now I'm trying to keep it like proportional to my stomach. I gotta balance or I'm gonna fall down.
That's what it is. You're constantly balancing by throwing your arms out. But like even just like the energy of like, oh man, holding hands. It can seem like a lot that you don't want to put that effort in, right? Yeah,
exactly. Or just like going and sitting on your lap on the couch instead of just like going to the couch and sitting down.
But in your defense too, like you constantly are worried about sitting in my lap like you're going to crush me.
Right.
Which is
right
funny.
Now I don't want to crush you.
Which is funny because you're like, what, $100, 100 pounds, something like that, maybe just over. You were saying actually when you sat in the chair that you could actually move the chair down.
See?
Yeah.
It went down. No, but there's the different physical intimacy pieces of just touch, but there's also the sex piece.
Yeah, and I think the sex piece is huge because for a long time we just wouldn't have that sexual intimacy because one of us was tired. And we just couldn't it's been a long day. Like the kids were horrible or work was long and I just don't have the energy for it. And it's so easy just to say, no, not right now, maybe tomorrow morning.
Yeah. And then I think that's a huge one to just remember and have on the back of your mind when you are tired and you just want to do, like our topic is just do it. Just do it when you're tired because...
Do it when you're tired, guys. Do it when you're tired, ladies.
Because then you just feel so much better afterwards and you're closer to each other and you can have those other conversations or anything. Mm-hmm. And you're just closer as a couple. Because I know there's been times where I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. And then if I decide not to, I'm like, oh, we'll do it in the morning. And then it doesn't happen. I'm like, oh, I should have done it.
Yeah, the kids,
and then
the kids wake
up early.
Oh,
no, they got up early this morning. What? I should have done it. And then, it just sets you up for failure or just not failure, but just wishing that you would have done something. So putting something off for later that might not come.
Yeah. And that's kind of the whole topic that we're talking about is there are so many things that in our lives that we just put off because we don't feel like we have the energy to do it. When in fact, that if we just put in just a little effort to get it started, it's kind of like that snowball, the snowball effect that we always, hear about, where you make the small snowball and you get it rolling the top of the hill, and it starts to build speed. It gets momentum. It gets bigger, and all of a sudden, it's not so hard once you get started. Well, actually, yeah, a little bit after you get started, not once you get started, but once you get going a little bit, then it's a lot easier. Everything is like that in life. And the same thing is true with physical intimacy, with sex. And I think a lot of couples struggle with this because either the guy's always ready or the girl's ready, and like you're like ships passing in the night. And I want to encourage you. I think Willow would be in the same boat. I want to encourage you guys, just do it. Just go and set the expectation to be intimate physically, sexually, but also don't put so much pressure on yourselves. Can I just say that?
Yeah.
Like, because there have been so many times where you're in your head and you can't be in the moment, and you gotta like just laugh at some point and just okay, this is weird. This is I'm just not quite there. Like, give me a little bit more time. I think you got to give yourselves a break, but still you got to work towards it, right? Everything good requires some amount of work.
Right. Exactly. And it's hard.
Yeah, it really is.
But
no matter what side of the coin that you're on. And so we really want to encourage you, because I think that's a really big topic.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people struggled in that area. And I mean, even we've had conversation after conversation about frequency and all those different kinds of things. And those are things that you should have with your spouse. And don't compare yourself with other people.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how many people that you're talking to in your life. They're like, hey, how many times did you get some last week? Oh, right. But truly, there is something to be said about not getting in your head, not getting in your mind, to put up those blocks to say, well, I'll just do it tomorrow, maybe next week, maybe
because
the
then a lot of
weekend, because it'll be, weekend will be better because we'll have more rest and fill in the blank. Stop putting it off.
But things always happen, and you're just wishing that you would have.
Yeah, huge. So. Number 5.
Number 5 is a big one too. Connecting with others. Just being able to add value to others, or like to your spouse, to your kids, to your friends, even when you're tired.
Yeah. Because you don't want to, it kind of goes back to a lot of this is kind of coinciding with one another, but this is a huge one, because sometimes you have friends that want to get together and you want to hang out and you're tired, or even as a couple, like you have a couple with, maybe they've got kids that are insane and they want to visit with you, and you're just like, oh, I just don't have the energy for this.
Yeah.
And just say yes and do it.
Yeah.
Be a light to some other couples, because we need connection. It's so surprising how many couples that we meet and we talk to that they just long and strive for connection. They need community, and creating a space or an opportunity for them to come over is really important. Like, one of the things that we did even within the last 4 weeks was someone was selling a couch, and I went with a friend and we went and picked up the couch and brought it back so we could actually have people in our living room.
Have enough seats for people to sit down.
Mm-hmm. And that came from this thought and this idea that, well, we want to do more Bible studies together, and we want to do more things together with other couples, but we don't really have the seating. It's not a welcoming space for people, and so we just pulled the trigger. Did we get the nicest couch in the world? No, it was a used couch, but it was something that would help us open the doors to just saying yes
and just doing it. Because instead of we're tired and we're gonna wait until we get a house that can accommodate everybody, we're just going to do it.
Because I don't think we'll ever find a house that's that big to accommodate.
Right, exactly, that too.
Right.
But.
Well, and the other thing too, so it's important to do things together, make the commitment to do things with other couples, but also make the commitment to getting your spouse out to meet with other people too.
Right, exactly.
Like, when you have a play date with someone, like 100% of the time, I'm like, yeah, go, it's fine. Yeah. Like, we'll figure it out. Just say yes, and vice versa. You've done the same thing for me, right?
Right. We encourage each other to do those things. Like, you had a couple outings or coffee with a couple guys this week, and then I have like a women's thing next week, and you're encouraging me to do it even though I'm tired, but it's good because it's that connection piece to just do it even though you're tired, because you get to be either pouring in, like you just said, pouring into someone or getting poured into, and that's just
yeah. And well, it's funny too,
energizing.
because like your women's study, like every single week it comes around, you're like, I'm just so tired. I don't want to go to it. I have to drive there, and it's a far away thing, and it's late in the evening, and I don't want to get home late. And I'm like, just go. And you're like, are you sure? And like, I have to fight you to get out the door. And then you come home and I'm like, how was it? And you're like, I'm so glad I went.
I'm so glad I went. Right? Yeah, exactly.
But it's true. And understand when we say this, like when we talk about going out and doing things individually, that doesn't mean that you are focused 100% just on individual things. You gotta do the couple thing with the individual thing at the same exact time, because what I find is a lot of couples don't have the balance.
Right.
You either are out with the girls or out with the guys all the time, or you're in just doing stuff
by
yourselves.
Yeah.
Or you're only doing stuff with other couples. And I think there has to be a good dichotomy. It has to be a good breakup of everything.
Yeah.
Because it's important to do that.
Right.
So that's huge. I think we missed actually number 4. I jumped number 4.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was probably me.
No, that was me, because I said number 4 and then connecting with others. But so that's number 5. But number 4, going back, is actually the spiritual intimacy. It kind of ties in with intimacy. But are you actually just pulling the trigger and doing Bible study together?
Yeah. Even when we're tired, like we did not want to get up this morning and do Bible study, but we just did it anyways because we need that, spiritual connection. So
yeah. It's huge too, because when it comes to Bible study, because Bible study for us right now as a couple is we wake up super early in the morning, and I'm usually doing a Bible teaching on my community calls on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5 a.m. And so we're up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And, if we get distracted, Willow gets distracted by the Great American Channel with, the latest Christmas movie, we're up later and we're spending time together, but we're also burning the candle. And it's we look at this in the season right now, we're like, okay, we can either get the extra sleep or we can spend a little bit of extra time together, maybe watching a movie, cuddling. And that's important. And so there has to be balance with all this stuff. But are you guys actually finding the spiritual intimacy? Are you praying together? Are you reading together? And when I say reading together, like Willow and I will read separately, and we just say, hey, what did you read this morning?
Yeah.
Like you could be 5 minutes into work and I'm like, hey, quickly, just tell me what you read this morning.
Right.
And then I'll tell you. And even just that small little thing adjusts our day to be more connected. It takes extra energy for all of these things, and you feel like you're tired and you don't have the energy to do it. But can I just say, push the ball, like get it rolling, get a little bit of momentum with it. What's the last thing we want to tell people?
Just do it.
Just
do it tired.
Do it. Do it tired. Which is, that's one of the main reasons why we wanted to bring up the topic of just do it and do it tired, because we are tired. And I'm sure you guys are tired too. We're in a season right now of, we just got done with Thanksgiving. We traveled down to see my folks. We got to see your cousins. We got to see your mom. And then we had a bunch of other stuff where, we had to pick up our dog and then take a bike rack off of your mom's car, like at 9 o'clock at night, or actually that's like 6 o'clock at night, so that she could.
Oh yeah, but it was dark, so it's confusing.
Yeah, it was really
it's
confusing.
Like dark at 5 o'clock now. Anyways,
yeah. it was just like one thing after the next, on and on and on and on, and it was an exhausting time. And then coming home and focusing on the kids, trying to make sure the kids feel loved. You're pregnant right now, so you're tired all the time.
Just trying to get like all the time in with you and the kids before baby's born too.
Yeah. And then, we're going to be adjusting with all that kind of stuff of like, what does it look like to give extra energy to each individual child so that they know that they're loved and they're cared about, but then also giving the energy for the new child. And there's so much that it can be easy to be overwhelmed with everything going on. But here's the thing is you got to just do it.
Yeah.
Like you and I, like we said earlier on the podcast, before we were really getting going was we didn't want to do this recording today. We didn't want to do this recording yesterday. We didn't even have this topic.
I know.
When we were we were sitting down here. I'm like, what do you want to talk about? Like, I don't know. What do you want to talk about? I don't know. Just grumbling. Like we didn't have anything to talk about. Like we're tired. And I looked at you and I was like, what about like just do it? Do it tired. And you're like, huh.
I was like, yeah. I was like, what's been going on this past week? We've been tired. Oh, that's good.
That's good. I don't know where that came from, but I think we're just tired. But I mean, honestly, with where you are right now, we're going into one more, seasonal cycle, right? It's the seasonal cycle of Christmas. We have New Year's too. We don't really celebrate New Year's really that much, right?
I mean, kind of. But I mean, not like crazy celebrate New Year's.
We do like planning. We do planning, but we don't like stay up till midnight. I don't think we've watched the ball drop for like 7 years.
I know.
Does the ball still drop, by the way? If it drops, drop us a comment. Let us know because I don't even know. Did they drop a ball? Maybe it's a piñata now. I don't know. It's got to be something.
Someone diving for all the candy.
Oh,
geez.
Yeah. But wherever you are, you're in a season, most likely. You're probably tired like we are, and you got a lot going on, which, by the way, if you're looking at the video, I'm sorry, it's bright white again. I don't know why. Willow looks like she's a ghost. And
no, I'm just kidding.
I don't know what's happening. I got to fix the cameras in here. The kids were in here when we were recording stuff, so stay tuned. There might be a child episode soon.
Uh-oh.
Willow doesn't know about that yet. Surprise. But we do want to say thank you so much for joining us. It's always fun to get to sit down and talk, but to really just communicate that you're not alone. You're not alone going through the stuff that you're going through. We're going through it too. We just happen to have a podcast to tell you just how messed up our life is.
Right, exactly.
No, but we're excited to meet with you guys again. And until next time, remember to be more.
See more.
And experience more.
Together.
Than before.
Oh,
no. We lost it. Let's try it again. Remember to be more.
See more.
And experience more.
Together.